A comparison between the Apple Watch 10 and the Apple Watch Ultra 2 is essential when deciding between Apple's top-tier timepieces. The 2024 autumn product unveiling of Apple included the introduction of the new Apple Watch Series 10, but the Apple Watch Ultra 3 was not featured. Nevertheless, Cook did announce a new Satin Black Ultra 2 case finish as a consolation reward, which is quite attractive. In our Apple Watch 10 hands-on review, you will observe that Apple has implemented the most significant enhancements to the watch's design since the Series 7. The increased screen real estate compared to the Ultra effectively eliminates one of the costlier smartwatch line's most significant advantages over the standard Apple Watch series. Additionally, there are enhancements to the hardware, including a new S10 processor, quicker charging, and the implementation of a new sleep apnea detection feature. The Series 10 is priced at $399, which is half the cost of the Apple Watch Ultra 2, despite its influx of new features. However, the chunkiest wearable from Apple has several substantial advantages over its younger sibling. In order to comprehend the primary distinctions, I have conducted a comparison of the two timepieces in 6 categories: price, design, wearability, battery life, health features, and smart features. Last September, 2023, the Apple Watch Ultra 2 was introduced at a price of $799, while the Apple Watch Series 10 was introduced this September, 2024, at a starting price of $399 for the 42mm model and $429 for the larger 46mm model. Pre-orders for the Series 10 are open now, with availability expected for September 20th. While the Ultra 2 comes with a cellular antenna, Series 10 customers are given the option for an extra $100, regardless of which capacity they choose. No matter which way you pass it, the Apple Watch 10 is the more affordable choice, even if you spring for the upgraded titanium case option, which starts at $699 for the smaller model and rises to $749 for the larger, both with LTE. When it comes to the design of the watch, both the Series 10 and Ultra 2 have advantages and disadvantages. For example, the Ultra claims 100 meters of water resistance, twice that of the Apple Watch 10, along with a brighter display that maxes out at 3000 nits compared to 2000 nits. This makes it easier to observe the latest Ultra in broad daylight. Additionally, the Ultra series incorporates Apple's programmable action button, something you don't get on the 10. Lastly, the fancier titanium case comes standard on the series, which is ultimately a more durable material than aluminum. In the Apple Watch 10's defense, the larger model does offer a marginally bigger screen than what you'll find in the Ultra, but the difference is far from earth-shattering. The Series 10 is also thinner and lighter, which will be addressed in the next section, and wears a new wide-angle OLED screen to make it simpler to read at unusual angles. Those after the comfiest wearing contemporary Apple Watch will almost undoubtedly be better served by the Series 10, which is half the weight of the Ultra 2 and a full 4.7mm thinner. In fact, the new Apple Watch, along with the Samsung Galaxy Watch 7, is one of the narrowest, full-featured timepieces money can buy at the moment. It's also the narrowest and lightest Apple Watch ever. This is another straightforward one. The Ultra 2 offers 36 hours of battery per charge, twice the 18-hour longevity rating of the Apple Watch 10. And while those ratings double when using low-power mode on either device, the conventional Apple Watch series hasn't seen a battery life increase, ever. The original Apple Watch debuted a decade ago, also promising 18 hours of life per charge. Series 10, the Ultra 2, claims this category. Whether you pick up the latest Series 10 or Ultra 2, you'll be receiving almost identical sets of wellness and workout tools, allowing you to keep tabs on parameters like heart rate and body temperature, delve into your sleep stages and overall sleep quality, monitor reproductive health, and more. You can also look for irregular heart rhythms, which may indicate AFib, as well as abnormally high or low heart rates. Plus, a new sleep apnea detection utility should be coming to the Ultra 2 and Series 10, as well as the Series 9, sometime in the future. Currently, this potentially life-saving feature is awaiting FDA approval in the United States and similar certification in other markets. By the way, while manufacturers like Samsung use the SpO2 sensor to detect sleep apnea, Apple is relying on the integrated accelerometer to monitor for body movements that could indicate obstructed or irregular breathing patterns. This difference in approach is the result of Cupertino's ongoing legal dispute with rival Massimo over proprietorship of the technology behind Apple's Blood Ox feature. When it comes to smartwatch features, the new Apple Watch 10 and Ultra 2 are largely a match. Both devices support the latest watchOS 11 software. The Series 10 ships with it, which includes access to Apple's amazing check-in safety feature from your wrist, a new Apple Watch translation app with support for 20 languages, and the ability to suspend your activity chimes. As I said at the start, there are sensible reasons to go with either Apple's latest release or last year's tough-built model. Folks on a budget and slash, or those who want the comfiest stunning modern Apple Watch, should go with the Series 10. On the other wrist, if money is no option, and you want the toughest built Apple Watch and slash or the model with the longest battery life, the Ultra 2 is going to serve you better. 10 years ago today, the very first Apple Watch made its debut, and to mark this momentous occasion, the Cupertino tech monarch launched a gleaming new Apple Watch, as the brand has done every autumn since, along with the oh-so-familiar promise that this new model is the best one yet. Indeed, the Apple Watch 10 is filled with all sorts of intriguing design enhancements and feature advancements. Read my first observations and my colleague Kate's hands-on experience with the device, but not everything on my agenda was addressed. As a result, I'm divided between whether I should or shouldn't upgrade to the latest release. And if I'm on the fence, there's a high possibility that you are as well. So let's work through this together. My primary reason for contemplating an upgrade to the Apple Watch 10 is the device's lighter and thinner case profile. I detest cumbersome timepieces, so the Ultra series at 49mm never really appealed to me. However, the new 46mm Apple Watch 10 boasts a screen that's larger than the Ultra's, yet the device still manages to be Apple's lightest, narrowest, and arguably most comfortable watch ever. The Apple Watch 10 has a thickness of 9.7mm, which is comparable to the remarkably easy-wearing Samsung Galaxy Watch 7. The smaller Watch 10 model weighs in at 36.4 grams, which is a little heavier than its Galaxy Watch 7 counterpart, but considerably lighter than the nearly 62-gram Apple Watch Ultra. My next reason for coveting the new Apple Watch is the addition of a streamlined and fashionable jet black aluminum case finish. There's also a new titanium version that starts at $699, which is regrettably way outside of my budget. That is, unless the powers that be grant me a big raise this year. Hint, hint. As someone who incorporates quite a lot of black into my wardrobe, the result of a young adulthood spent living in New York City, I've long wished for an Apple Watch with a less flamboyant and more elegant aesthetic. And this is it. Finally, I'm strongly considering upgrading to the latest Apple Watch 10 because the initial price of $399 struck me as an excellent value. Apple has managed to maintain the same entry price for its primary smartwatch line, going all the way back to 2017's Apple Watch 4, which is commendable. Sure, the device is costlier than its most direct Android competitors, but not by too much. You'll pay a manageable $50 more for the Apple Watch 10 compared to the Pixel Watch 3 and $100 more than the Galaxy Watch 7. The number one upgrade I was expecting from the Apple Watch 10 was improved battery performance. Sadly, the latest Apple Watch offers the same longevity as the OG model, 18 hours. Yes, there are techniques for conserving power along with a beneficial, built-in battery-saving feature, but I can't help but feel a bit disappointed with its utilization rating. Of course, Apple positions the device's battery life claim as an achievement. We slimmed it down without sacrificing battery. But compared to the also new Google Pixel Watch 3 in 45mm, which lasts for up to 48 hours in my testing, the Apple Watch 10's advertised longevity spec doesn't astound. The other primary reason I'm considering passing on this generation of Apple Watch is the lack of FDA authorization for the device's hallmark health feature, sleep apnea detection, which is also coming to the Series 9 and Ultra 2. This is something that Apple's rival Samsung was able to get authorized prior to unveiling its new Galaxy Watch 7 and Galaxy Watch Ultra earlier this summer. This potentially life-saving tool alerts users to any concerning disturbance in their respiration patterns while asleep and requires them to wear that Apple Watch for 10 days within 1 month to generate a report. I should mention that sleep apnea detection may be available at launch in some markets. However, we stateside folks will need to wait until the extremely well-functioning and transparent government bureaucratic agency known as the FDA gives it a stamp of approval before we get access. When will that happen? Maybe tomorrow. Maybe sometime in 2025. That's the excitement of coping with the wacky and untamed FDA. Ultimately, if the feature is greenlit sooner rather than later, and the Apple Watch 10's battery life proves to be better than anticipated, if by only a little, that will likely be enough to tilt the scale for me in favor of an upgrade. What do you think? Do you concur with my justifications for upgrading to the Apple Watch 10? And how do you feel about my rationale for avoiding it? Let me know in the comments below. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.